How's everybody doing? I thought I would record a quick how-to since we're in the second week now, and a couple of you have asked the same questions. So I'm going to share my screen and walk you through a couple of things. Hang on a second. Uh, I think it's this one. Let's just make sure I'm getting the right thing here. You can see my screen. Cool. Okay. So now you should see, yes, you see my Canvas page. Cool. Announcements, syllabus. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. Okay. How do I know which group I'm supposed to be in? So I navigate over here to the left. I click on people. Um, you're going to see everyone in here. If you go to groups, you will see the different international locations. If you click on the left arrow, which is a drop down, it tells you who is in that group. So you can click through until you find your group and your name under it. Some of you have four, some of you have five. We've had quite a few ads late in the class because they opened this section late. So I'm just letting folks come in as they can. You can see here that everybody should have a group. And if you haven't gotten a hold of your group, you should do that as well. The other questions that have come up are about the discussion. So I'm going to click back on modules. Week one was pretty straightforward. Introduce yourself to the class. For week two, explore your beaches and physical setting. So I'm going to go ahead and open that and talk about it a little bit. Um, I apologize. I thought I had recorded a video in here, so I'll go ahead and add this in here as well. So you're going to use Google Earth. So you click on Google Earth and open it up. It's just like a maps thing if you've never used it. You're going to zoom into your assigned area. So that would be from the list that you just got, and you would zoom into that. You want to look at different things along the coast since that's what we're looking at. So say you were looking at California, which none of you are, but you would zoom into the whole coast and kind of scroll around because as you know, San Francisco looks really different than Ventura or Los Angeles or San Luis Obispo area or anywhere along the coast. So same thing, since you've been assigned an entire country, you can kind of zoom around and maybe see where there's urban areas, where there aren't. And what I want you to think about is that you're going to compare and contrast this with the coast of California. So in the Google Earth thing, do you see a lot of people like on the beaches hanging out? You want to start thinking about and talking to your pod, which is your little group for your research assignment, right? So some of you, there's like four or five of you in each group. So you're going to kind of talk about like what are the physical characteristics of the beaches? Did anything catch your eye? And you want to start thinking about the geology or the rocks and the physical setting for each of those little locations that you kind of pick along the coast. And what do you think shapes those? So are there huge dunes? Is there a big drop off, right? Are the beaches really, really wide or really, really narrow? And what have you learned this week about California's beaches that could compare and contrast to that, right? So depending on where you are in California, you can see big, huge dunes as you go to the Central Coast, right? And how do those form? Our beaches are fairly narrow in Ventura County. LA County, they're a little bit wider. So why is that? We have the bite in California, that like funky little bump that happens. And so the currents change a little bit. What do the rocks look like? Is it all sandstone? Like when you drive over to Fillmore and you go down Grimes Canyon and you can like etch your name in the sandstone? Is it big, huge rocks? Things like that. Okay. Does it take a while to get to the beach? If you ever look at the coast of Oregon, so I'd not seen this until I went to grad school, but the beaches are like football fields wide. It's insane. And sometimes you have to hike through the forest to get to some steps, and then you go down there, and then you walk for like 5 or 6 minutes before you can even touch the water. So that has a different setup, right? So you want to think about those kinds of things. And this is just preliminary research, right? So at the end of the semester, you have a presentation that you do on your own, but each week you're going to work on your own, but then talk to each other because that's part of the requirement of the class is for you to speak to one another about what you're learning. And you're going to talk about like the psychology of being on the beach, the economical stuff. We're going to talk about politics, education, music, the spiritual and cultural essence of the beach and in that area. So we're going to learn a lot about all the different stuff that goes, not just the physical part of the beach, but all the things that are tied to it, and then pollution and the mammals and the crabs and the birds and what do you do at the beach, what kind of recreation. So we're going to learn about all these different things. But for this week, I just want you to zoom in using Google Earth, check out your country that you were assigned, check out the coastline, and kind of pick some areas that look interesting to you. Is it what you have to stick with? No. But you can check it out. So I created an example. You can click on it here and take a look at it. So I pretended like I was assigned Australia. I looked at Bondi Beach because that just, I think it popped up in the news with the scary shooting that happened recently. So that was in my head. You can talk about that if you want. And this is the write-up that I did. This is way longer than what you're required to do. I think it's only 300 to 500, but I want you to pay close attention to hear how I cited things. Make sure you're doing that, okay? And that's why you have that Zotero library um, that you should be putting together. Let's see. So I'm going to go back to the module so that you can keep track of your citations. So that's what you're doing for week 2 for your physical setting. Um, I also fixed, there was a busted link here in the library resources, and I fixed that too. So hopefully this helps. Hopefully it answers all your questions for this week. If there are more, let me know. I check my email pretty regularly. And again, let me know if you want to Zoom chat. I'm happy to do that. Okay, thanks.